Chicago Bears. Vern Lundquist, Terry Bradshaw, in a game in which the fog rolled in midway through the second quarter. The game has continued. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Jim McMahon has replaced an injured Mike Tomczak for the Bears, who hold on now to a 17-12 lead as we begin in the fog the fourth quarter. That was Brad Mustard, number 25, on the carry as the Bears now go from right to left here in the fourth quarter.
45, 4th down, Chicago.
But you know, Vern, we made a point earlier about the white jerseys of the Eagles and how it might be hard to see. Now with these dark jerseys, I got to think that if it is difficult to throw, that McMahon can now see his receivers in this kind of all-white background. Now the dark jerseys of the Bears kind of pop out.
Very good point. There you can see the white jerseys blending in, the Philadelphia Eagles, as they deploy, and Jim McMahon comes up. Early fourth quarter, 17-12, Chicago. They had a 17-9 score at the half. Sanders goes right and disappears in the haze.
First down.
Goes right and out of sight.
First and 10 at the 39. That was a 19-yard gain for Sanders. And the ball is at the 36. And just to make the point again, these players apparently can see much more readily than we can. Neil Anderson coming left. And out of bounds, back upfield. The back judge, Tom Sifferman, made the call. But the Bears moving, they have a 17-12 lead.
First down.
Watch Anderson's left leg, and then you'll be able to see where right there he steps out of bounds, steps on the line, and his heel went out of bounds.
That's a 23-yard gain for Neil Anderson. The ball at the 13-yard line. Just over 14 minutes remaining. You can hear Jim Tunney. We will give you what is almost going to be a radio play-by-play call here, but we can only tell you what we can see, and that is essentially exactly what you're seeing at home. From the end zone, McMahon has replaced Tomczak here in the latter stages of the third, early part of the fourth, and he pumps once, rolls right. Pass is incomplete. Jimbo Covert.
Second down.
17-12, ball at the 13-yard line. Winner of this game will play the winner of Minnesota-San Francisco. That's coming up tomorrow under what we hope are better conditions, and a little bit of the fog begins to lift.
Yeah, but it comes in and it moves out, and what stays is relatively still pretty thick. Now that's a good shot right there. That's with it out of here.
McMahon, left side. And Wes Hopkins gets into it with Dennis Gentry.
No, Hopkins is pitching a fit because Gentry came up and gave Hopkins the pop right under the chin, and that's what he's hollering about. He says, I didn't do anything wrong. Gentry is the one that initiated this. You always tell us that if the guy that responds to the initial blow is the one that gets flagged, and so that's why Hopkins is pitching a fit.
13 minutes, 20 seconds. 13 minutes, 20 seconds. The clock is being started.
That's Jim Tunney, the referee. And again, if you did join us late, Pete Rozelle, Don Weiss, the league office, in conference with the officials. They can see both goalposts on the field, and the decision was to continue play in this critical postseason game under less than ideal circumstances. 17-12 Chicago. Neil Anderson, the ball carrier, and Andre Waters with the tackle.
Bears getting their running game cranked up here, Vernon. What they're trying to do, of course, is to score and take a 12-point lead and then use the clock up. And the clock is so important to a quarterback. He runs his whole offense off of the clock, getting up to the line. And I'm sure what's happening is Tunney is coming into the huddle and saying, Jim, you got 39 seconds. Jim, you got 40 seconds.
Field goal attempt by Kevin Butler. This will be from 27 yards out. Make it 26 officially. It's 17-12 right now, less than a touchdown, separating the two teams. From 26 yards out, Kevin Butler.
Field goal is successful. Got it. Field goal is good. Time is out. Time is out.
The lead for Chicago is back to 8. It's 20-12. 12:04 remaining in this NFC divisional playoff game between the Eagles and Chicago. 12:34 on the clock. 12:34 to go, fourth quarter. Bring you up to date. If you joined us late, the game was fogged in the second quarter. We have terrible conditions, but the league has decided to continue the game because, and I think we should re-stress the point, Terry, they apparently can see on the field because they have been passing the ball.
Yeah, that's true. We're at least, 75, 80 yards away from the field, so it's a lot harder for us. But down on the field, and I'll say it again, as long as they're throwing the football, obviously they're not having any problems seeing it if they're throwing it. So let them play. We're just having a hard time giving our audience out there a good picture of this.
Chicago will kick off after the Butler field goal. The fog has become the story of the game. Looked like a reverse going to the far side of the field. Izell Jenkins continues to carry it after faking the handoff to Walter Abercrombie. Oh, well, we got a second. Let's go down to Brent Musburger. Brent?
Vern, I was out on the field a short time ago with the officials. You and Terry are right. You can see toward the end of the field what Jim Tunney will keep his eye on is the 30-second clock. If the quarterback no longer can see it, then they would think about suspending it. But when you look down the field, both Cunningham and now McMahon can see it. One other update, Vern. Tom Zach apparently is not going to return. It's McMahon's game now the rest of the way.
All right, Brent, thank you. 1st and 10 from the Chicago 30, or from the Eagle 31. 20-12, and Cunningham back. Left side batted down, Sean Smith. The 4th round draft choice out of Grambling, who's trying to fill the spot vacated by the injury to Richard Dent.
Richard Dent. Now, the difference in the styles of Sean Smith and Dent are extremely opposite. Smith's a much bigger man. Smith is a man that has one rush. It's a bull rush. He is a big guy who plays the run extremely well, whereas Dent is very mobile, very quick, and he's the sack leader. But Smith, a big, strong defensive end. But today now, he's already knocked down 2 passes that Cunningham has attempted to throw over his hands.
2nd down and 10. 20-12 Chicago in the fog in the Windy City. Cunningham pulls up and lets it go. Caught by Quick. And that should be enough for a first down as Maurice Douglas makes the tackle.
Anytime Cunningham drops back to pass and then starts to run, the moment he approaches the line of scrimmage, the linebackers and the corners, they stop and react to him running with the football. And when they do that, that allows the receivers the extra 2 steps to get open. That time Quick, when Cunningham ran, came in behind with safety wide open.
Cunningham 19 of 38 for 318 yards. Out of the pocket, pulls up, incomplete, intended for Keith Jackson.
Unusual to see Jackson in that area. Once again, to give you a little insight into the Eagles' strategy when Cunningham runs with the football, unlike a lot of receivers in the National Football League that are taught to come back to rescue the quarterback, the Eagles receivers turn around and explode and go to the goal line. Cunningham has the ability to throw on the run and to throw it very accurately and very long.
Second down and 10. 20-12, ball at the 50. Chicago holds on to an 8-point lead. Draw play. They test the middle, and Steve McMichael makes the tackle.
Neither McMichael or Hampton made the Pro Bowl, and there are a lot of people that are saying that there was an injustice served because they felt that these two men, Hampton and McMichael, had tremendous years. Pressure from tackles in a 4-3 is almost unheard of anymore. Most of the pressure has always come from the outside, but these men cause havoc up the middle.
3rd and 5 in the fog. Ball at the Chicago 45. Bears lead 20-12.
Blitz.
Stunts. Cunningham left side. Caught by Byers, close for the first down. And the Eagles do pick up the 1st and 10. They will be able to move the chain.
That's the second time now we have seen in this game an all-out blitz, and Byers is responsible for one of the men rushing. But what the Eagles wanted to do was let that man come and get Cunningham. Byers will run the route, and Cunningham will blitz control to Byers. If the back pulls off and covers Byers, then Cunningham will set up and throw the football downfield because he'll have time.
1st and 10, Philadelphia. They trail by 8. Under 10 minutes to go in the ball game. Cunningham pumps once and goes deep in the fog. And it is incomplete. Chris Carter, defended by Maurice Douglas, inside the 10.
Maurice Douglas is playing out of position. He is a natural, strong safety and possibly even a better cornerback, but he's playing free safety with the injury of Sean Gale, who is out for the year with a broken neck. But Gale coming over, the pump was to bring the corner up and then to try to squeeze the ball in between the safety, but Douglas would have none of that.
9:27 to go in the ball game. 2nd down and 10. Eagles trail 20-12. Cunningham rolls out and is knocked down at the 25, but he's got an Eagle 1st down. This is a man who for the past 2 years has led the Eagles in running. And to give you an idea of how rare that is, the last quarterback to do that was Tobin Rote with Green Bay in 51 and 52.
Philadelphia.
Steve McMichael, the left defensive tackle, number 76. Notice now the spin. Notice he turned his back to Cunningham. Coming into this game, he and Hampton both told us we cannot afford to use the spin move and turn our back on Cunningham. When we do that, we lose sight of him, and he gets out and he runs with the football. He said we've got to treat him like a good friend,
Illegal block
but someone we don't trust.
Number 88, Philadelphia. The penalty is accepted, 10 yards. It'll still be 2nd down.
And again, the Eagles penalized. They had 2 touchdowns called back on successive plays in the 1st quarter on penalties.
9 minutes.
They also had a 3rd and goal from the 1 wiped out by a penalty. And this one cost them the 1st down. It's 2nd
Still
down.
2nd down.
Buddy Ryan prowling the sideline, back home for the 2nd time since he left the Bears
2nd down.
to become the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And fog or no fog, this game means everything in the world to these Eagles. They're so cocky. They believe that they're destined for the Super Bowl, and they're going to beat these Bears today.
They've got 9.5 to do it. 2nd and 25, screen left. Caught by Michael Haddix.
Out of bounds.
And he is out of bounds, far short of the 1st down. Here's a young man who's really overcome some adversity in his career. Number 1 draft choice He was the third running back taken his rookie season, behind Kurt Warner, Eric Dickerson, and Kurt Warner, and then struggled, never really became the big ground gainer they expected. At one time had to fight his way back out of Buddy Ryan's doghouse by performing on special teams, and now is an alternating fullback with Tony. There's the clock, 8:49 to go. And apparently they did get a first down in the last play. Incomplete at the 20, intended for Carter. And let's go down to Irv Cross. Irv?
You know, the field conditions are lousy for the players. What we're looking at right now are Polaroid shots that were taken at halftime for the Bears coaching staff to determine strategy. This helps you show spacing and various defensive alignments of the opposing team. Can't see a thing. Hey, Will?
Yeah, Irv, I think the big story here around the field where the people can't see the game, but they're marveling at the public address announcer. How can he see all of this from the press box? Well, he can't. What he did was put an assistant down on the field with a walkie-talkie. The assistant relays the play to the press box. Then they shoot it over the PA assistant. Let's go back to Vern.
Well, that's what we need. 8:40 to go. I wondered how he was doing such a good job. Cunningham. That's complete. Incomplete. Now it is complete. He's not doing such a good job. I was reacting to him.
Well, I was marveling at how well you're doing following him now.
First down.
We've seen the quick slants, and I realize our problems here, but I want to make a point. We've seen quick slants by Cunningham, and would have brought the corner. Mike Richardson is clamped down inside. A quick slant now with a pump fake. Fake the quick slant, and then take it up the field will be wide open.
First down, 10, pass left. Besky Jackson gets in the way of it, and Mike Quick can't hang on. It's incomplete.
You know, that's what I just said is something that very easily could have happened with Ted Plum and his people on the sideline, but back to the strategy, he cannot help Cunningham. He can't say do the pump and take the quick slant and go up the field because they can't see what's happening. So therefore, Cunningham has to do the improvising all on his own. If they send the play in, he must now be a quarterback and say, this won't work. I can see better than you, and call it off and call his own game.
7:57 to go. Second and 10. Eagles trail 20-12. Cunningham comes right. Lobs it. Incomplete. Intended for Byers. No catch. And Byers, claiming foul, wants a penalty call. There is a flag. Back
Offensive
upfield.
pass interference, number 26.
Michael Haddock's offensive pass interference. That's another Eagle penalty. Now here's the thought, Terry. The Vikings and the 49ers getting ready to play tomorrow, and you'll see that on CBS. The winner of that game has to play the winner of this. They've got to prepare off of these game films.
Pass interference, offense, number 26. The penalty is accepted, 10 yards. It'll still be second down.
That's true, Vernon. But what will happen is that the coaches for either the Vikings or the 49ers will have at least to their
Clock will be
4 or
started.
5 films from past weeks. They won't necessarily have this one, but by this point in the year, what new can possibly come out in a game? So I don't think it's anything special. Sure, they need these tapes, but they've got other film tapes that they can set their game plans with.
From the 27, second and 20. Jackson. Dave Duerson makes the tackle. Duerson, who said he's going to play just like a linebacker today. He's going to be right up and jam Keith Jackson. And Jackson had an interesting point about how he's learned the technique to escape those jamming linebackers. And he got it from television.
They got it from watching the Cleveland Browns, Ozzie Newsome. Notice how he took a lateral step. The first step was down the line of scrimmage, and that took away the jam by the linebacker or the safety. And then once he got the separation, he was able to cut back inside. He saw Newsome do it on television, and now he does it.
Blitz. Harris. Cunningham. Got him.
Grasp and control, grasp and control.
Well, that was grass and control, but it appeared to me that there also was a late hit on Cunningham.
Fourth down.
You know, there's grass and control, and now we've got the whistle to come into this. So let's see, is this a late
Fourth
hit?
down.
Cunningham, Harris 90, forces him out. He holds him up and says, I got you. Now there's some help from Sean Smith. And now Maurice
Time
Douglas,
remaining.
the free safety,
7:25.
he comes up and pops Cunningham. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, that is roughing the passer. That should be an Eagle first down.
John Telchik is on to apparently punt on fourth down. And Jim Tunney.
Charge. Timeout. Chicago. That's number 1.
Indicates the Bears have called timeout. They've used one of their 3. They have a 20-12 lead in the Fog in Chicago. They've not won a playoff game since they won the '85 World Championship. They lead right now 20-12, and John Telchik is the punt from the 37 of Chicago. Squib kick, left side. And that will bounce back to the 11-yard line and be down. And Jim McMahon, who replaced the injured Mike Tomczak, comes back onto the field after the 27-yard punt. Most of these fans have stayed in the Fog, and McMahon has to ask them to quiet down.
Coming into this game, in their pregame warm-up, the Bears were jumping up and down and showing the emotion that it takes to win in the National Football League, regardless of how old you are or how long you've been playing, and they showed that emotion, and today, so far, they've played with emotion.
7:11 remaining in the ball game. 1st and 10, Chicago. Toss left, Neil Anderson. And so important now for Anderson to hang on to the football. He and Sanders have had fumble problems, particularly late in the year. And Neil Anderson has lost a fumble in each of the last 3 games.
Well, and they're turning around and pitching the football to Anderson in a deep I set, and that time he almost dropped it. And I would think now, as you look at the clock, I would think now that the Bears are trying to run the football, but stop pitching the football, turn around and hand it off, because you lose a fumble here and you give the Eagles a chance to go in and close the gap on you.
2nd down and 7, 20-12. The only scoring in this fog-filled second half, 2 field goals, one by either team. Anderson runs into Andre Waters and Dwayne Giles, number 53.
Vern, if you look at the defense of the Eagles, you'll notice that the left side, the Mike Pitts and the Reggie White and the Seth Joyner, that side, the strong side, is the side that makes most of the tackles. 60% of the tackles are made. Everyone, that tells me everyone still runs at White, at Joyner, at Pitts. The backside, to give you a good indication, White with about 182 tackles, and then on the other side, Clyde Simmons, his counterpart at the right end, 84. So the right side, the left side of the Eagles, the strong side, their best side, yet everyone still attacks them.
3rd and 5 from the 16. Gentry starts in motion. 4-man rush. Here comes Reggie White. Reggie White over Hilgenberg, and he gets the sack as Joel Hilgenberg could not contain him.
There's the preacher man, Reggie White. Stands up, comes around Hilgenberg.
Charge.
Now, one of the things that Jay Hilgenberg told us that he wanted to do that no one does to White, they do not cut him. And he said, one of the things I want to do in this game is set him up and cut him, hit him below the knees and knock his feet out from under. But I don't want to make him too mad, and I'll help him up after I do it.
Hilgenberg and Reggie White will both play in the Pro Bowl. And, of course, tomorrow we've got the Minnesota-San Francisco game for you coming up at 3:30 Eastern Time. John Madden, Pat Summerall will be out there along with our NFL Today crew. And it all starts at 3:30 Eastern Time tomorrow from Candlestick in a rematch of last year's fascinating confrontation between the Vikings and the 49ers. Minnesota goes out as the wild card. The winner of that game plays the winner of this game a week from tomorrow on CBS. And it's going to be 4th down, and Brian Wagner comes on to punt.
Wonder if Carter have another big game out there, and wonder if Rice will have a big game too. They're really great receivers in the National Football League. Montana, Wade Wilson. That'll be a heck of a game.
Brian Wagner will punt for the Bears. Second time he's punted today. They come after him. Greg Garrity just activated. And I do not believe there were any flags. No, there were not. 45-yard punt, 2 on the return. 20-12. The Bears lead late in this foggy afternoon. 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this NFC divisional playoff game between Mike Ditka's Bears and Buddy Ryan's Philadelphia Eagles. The fog, if you just joined us, rolled into Soldier Field late in the second quarter. We had sunny skies, a gorgeous winter afternoon. The score at the time was 17-6, and then in the fog, Zendejas kicked the field goal to make it 17-9. Both teams have field goals in this half. The score now 20-12, and the Eagles have the ball at the 49-yard line. They trail by 8. They have had 2 touchdowns called back, both of those in the first quarter of play. Out of the shotgun, Cunningham. He goes for a bunch into the haze and the fog. Tipped away by Todd Crum, number 44. Cunningham has thrown for 373 yards in this ball game.
And that's the first time that we've seen him pre-fog roll in and fog, that we've seen Cunningham set back and then fire the ball deep down the field.
Winner of this one takes on the winner of Minnesota and San Francisco. If Chicago wins, that game will be played here. Second down and 10 from the 49. Catch is made by Keith Byers. Tackle made by Todd Crum. Byers has caught 8 today. 4:45 to go in the ball game. Quick count. Left side, tipped and batted down. Al Harris again. That's the 3rd time. Well, there's David Tate. But it looked like Harris might have gotten a hand up as well.
Yeah, I believe Harris did get his hand up. That's that little sprint out, that dash series that the Eagles like to run. Cunningham will open up and sprint out to the right, and then 90 is Harris, and there's that big left mid of his as it comes up and knocks the ball down.
That's the 3rd time today that Al Harris has deflected a pass. And here come the Eagles. 4th and 2 from the 43. Cunningham across the middle, caught. That's a first down for Byers in Philadelphia. And the chain will move for the Eagles, and they're fighting the clock as well as an 8-point deficit.
One of the things that Byers is doing so well, he's catching the ball, but they're having a hard time, the Bears is, getting him down.
Cunningham back, deep right side. That one incomplete. And again, just for the benefit of those of you who might have just tuned in, the fog rolled in late second quarter. Any possibility?
4 minutes, 8 seconds.
4:08. Any possibility of a view from the press box, our normal game coverage, is impossible. We simply cannot see. The camera cannot peer through the fog from the press box. So we are forced by these atmospheric conditions to go to sideline coverage, and sometimes it is going to be obscured. 4:05 remaining. Second and 10 from the 30. 20-12 ball game. Quarterback draw. It'll be 3rd down.
Now this is where Cunningham is calling all his plays. Notice he's waving downfield. He'll set the formation with his hand by going right or left. He'll set the formation and call the play from the shotgun.
Rush from Rivera. Pass is complete to Haddix down to the 16-yard line. 3:35 remaining in the ball game.
Well, this is where they've disintegrated the Eagles. That is, they've had penalties, dropped passes for touchdowns. Now is the time, if they're going to score a touchdown, they need it now.
Rush from the outside by Rivera. Pass left side intercepted. Picked off by the Bears. That's the third one they've gotten today. And the chase is on in the fog down the far sideline as Chicago gets yet one more turnover. Maurice Douglas. His second of the season. First and 10 Bears. Jim McMahon playing in place of the injured Mike Tomczak. Came on late third quarter. Brad Muster, the rookie out of Stanford. Buddy Ryan's team. He all but guaranteed a victory. But then so did Mike Ditka. Time has been called. Football in the fog on a Saturday afternoon with 2:54 remaining. Basketball indoor, no fog. Coming up next, as Denny Crum's Louisville Cardinals host the Kentucky team led by Eddie Sutton. Purvis Ellison will lead the Cardinals. That's next on CBS Sports as that interstate matchup between Louisville and Kentucky follows right here on CBS.
Our first view of the field. We can now see the players on the field.
This is the first time we've had a perspective from up on top as the fog starts to lift with under 3 minutes to go. And the ball near the 35. The only scoring in this second half, field goals, one by Zendejas, one by Butler. It's 20-12 as Cunningham has been intercepted 2 times. And the Eagles have one timeout left. Second down on the Philadelphia 35. Anderson knocked down by Giles and Mike Pitts as the clock rolls down to the 2:50 mark.
Gamble. Now the Eagles have to gamble. But early in the game, we saw the Eagles come out and blitz quite a bit. Now they've gotten very conservative. Now they're behind. Now the Bears are driving in. So now they got to sell out, bring 8 people up on the line of scrimmage and go after the Bears. Blitz, blitz, blitz. And with a quarterback like McMahon, I would not be surprised if they did that he would not audible to a pass and try to score.
2:20 remaining in the ball game. 20-12 Chicago. 3rd and 5. Thornton in motion. Thomas Sanders jammed up by Pitts and dropped. It'll be 4th down. And Philadelphia apparently will stop the clock. Nope, they did not. Or did they? Yes, they did. They used their final timeout. Here's Jim Tunney.
Time is out. 2 minutes. 2-minute notification. 2 minutes exactly. Time is out.
That is not an Eagle timeout. They do have one left. We have 2 minutes remaining in this NFC divisional playoff game. 2 minutes remaining in this NFC division playoff game between the Eagles and the Chicago Bears. 4th down now for Chicago. Kevin Butler has the only Bear points in this half when he scored on a field goal, and Chicago will go for it on 4th down. 4th and 5 from the 30. And again, the Bears lead by 8. Dennis Gentry starts in motion. McMahon back. Contained. He goes right side. 1st down, Chicago. Eagles can stop it once.
You can see the frustration on Buddy Ryan's face. Turnovers have cost his team today. A good safe pass by McMahon. His intent was to go into the end zone, but he pulled it back and threw a little controlled screen out in the flat to get the 1st down.
1:25 remaining. Bears, if they win, will be at home next Sunday in the NFC Championship game against either the Vikings or the 49ers. Left side, Sanders, driven backwards. And we approach the final minute. Brad Mustard. And time has been called by Philadelphia. That's their last. 53 seconds to go.
2 weeks ago, Buddy Ryan told us that he wanted this team in the playoffs to get the experience, to understand it, to grasp what it's about, to be excited about next year. He said also know that we're really not good enough. He said that 2 weeks ago, to go all the way, but we need that experience, and that's what this game today has given these young Eagles. They've gotten the experience, and they've gone up against a veteran Bear team that knows how to win. Although the last 2 years they've been knocked out of the playoffs in the first game, they know how to win. They know what to expect in a playoff game.
Mike Reichenbach talks with Buddy Ryan on the near side. By the way, in the lower right-hand corner, you see 53 seconds. The official time is being kept on the field, and the official time indicates there's exactly 1 minute left. When the fog rolled in, they took the official time off the scoreboard clock. There's 1 minute remaining. Eagles cannot stop the clock again.
Remaining.
Second down and 9 from the 23. And the clock will roll. Now some of the frustration of the afternoon comes out as Jerome Brown and Andre Waters. Well, no surprise that Waters is in the middle of it.
Yeah, Waters doesn't understand why a lot of things are said about him, but he's a guy that likes to mix it up. Looked like Seth Joyner, 59, was an injured Eagle down.
Seth Joyner, the injured Philadelphia Eagle, and Jim Tunney has called an official's timeout. Jerome Brown still arguing, pleading his case, and Clyde Simmons comes over to break it up.
Well, the thing here, the thing to do is to take the player for the Bears. Ditka should take the player out of the game that Browns want. Get him out of there. They don't need any fights now. This game is going to be won by the Bears, and there's no sense in letting it turn out to something nasty and ugly. Go ahead and take the player out, put him on the sideline, and then Brown won't have anybody to fight with. He'll have to pick it with someone else.
Don't forget, we'll have the winners and losers locker room, and I'm sure a lot of discussion about the weather with Will McDonough, Herb Cross, Brent, and Dick. That's coming up in just a few moments. Post-game show featuring interviews with both the winners and the losers.
You know, Vern, when you get in these playoff games and it's the first time, you realize how great this is. As a player and having gone there, I remember my first playoff game against the Raiders. And it was just the greatest thrill in the world, the magnitude of the game and how much it meant to me. And I thought, oh, God, that was a dream. I said, I always want to be a part of this. And to go for 8 years in a row was very special to me as a player.
Bears are in for the 5th year in a row, and they'll win this one. And the Chicago Bears are going to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-12. And Buddy Ryan comes back home to lose for the second time. Mike Ditka's team has won at home in the playoffs for the first time since 1985.
Let's talk savings. The year-end savings at your